My name is Paramila Kumalo. I am the Public and Media Skills
Recording in
Manager at
progress.
Africa. I'm so excited to have you all join us for this incredible meeting, this incredible webinar titled Empowering Children and Creating Safe Spaces Online. That is a joint between Monitoring Africa together with program partners like Mtoto News and other partners that are here today to support and to hear from children. So thank you so much for joining us and a warm welcome to you all. So the program for today, if Namshado, you have the program available, you can just share it on your screen just to quickly go through the program for today, the agenda. So I'll be your host or facilitator. My name is Paramila Kumalo, as mentioned. We're going to have our welcome from Nomonde Gongeka Sopa, the head of public policy in Southern Africa. Then we'll have an overview of today's program. Why are we having this event? In our invitation, we had said that we are commemorating International Youth Day, and we are indeed doing that. And you will hear from the amazing young people that form part of this beautiful discussion. We have learners from South Africa, from Kenya, from Lesotho, Rwanda, and Uganda, all here present today, and also from Botswana and Zambia. So it's really, when we say commemorating International Youth Day, we mean it in the African continent. And we've got a variety of young people from diverse backgrounds to come and share with us today some of the issues and concerns that they have around digital rights and creating online spaces, safe online spaces for their peers. So today, these young people are representative of other young people in the African region. And so really excited to hear from them. It promises to be an amazing and exciting webinar. So that's going to be what's happening. The overview will be given by William Bird, our director from Media Monitoring Africa, is going to give an overview and highlight the importance of this children's webinar that we're having today and digital rights in particular. And then we're going to go into the discussion with our young people from the countries that I've mentioned. And then we're going to have another important element where we have our adult partners and stakeholders respond to the young people today. So it's really a discussion, and we want as many input from our young people that are in the room, as well as our adults, to come in and respond to some of the messages that our young people have brought forward today, and to really engage in a meaningful discussion about how do we create better spaces online for young people, and how do we tackle this big issue of digital rights, especially for young people, for our children. And then we'll have towards the end, we'll have Facebook safety policy team present on some of the things that they've done, the wonderful work they've done in the region to ensure that young people continue to stay safe in the online space. And then we'll have our closing, and that will be our webinar. And we aim to finish at 5 o'clock. Again, a warm welcome, and I'm going to officially hand over to Nomonde to officially welcome us. Nomonde, over to you.
Thank you so very much, Pagamile. Ziko.
No wonder your mic is muted.
Oh, goodness me. It's unmuted.
We can hear you.
Hello, everyone. Am I the only one who's not hearing Nomonde? Nomshato, can you hear Nomonde on your side? It could probably be my issue that I'm facing.
Audible. Yeah, we can hear her.
Oh, okay. Oh, can you? All right then. Super great. Thank you so very much, everyone. I'll start yet again. Zikomo, Jambo, Dumelang, Sanibonani, greeting everyone from the corners of the African continent. And I would like to welcome you all to our engagement today on empowering children and creating safe spaces online, where as adults, young children will be holding us to account. As Pagamile said, my name is Nomonde Gongeka Swoba, and I'm head of public policy for the SADC region, and it is my absolute pleasure to meet you all. As Facebook, we care deeply about the safety and well-being of people, and especially children, on our platform, and we take our responsibility in this area seriously. At the core of what we do at Facebook is to strive to make our platforms a safe space for all. As Facebook, we accept that children are important actors in the digital world. We also acknowledge that certain inequalities exist when it comes to access and participation online, which often runs along gender lines. We further We further recognize that COVID-19 has posed various opportunities and, on the other side, challenges for children as they find new ways to participate in the online world. We note that 12 August 2021 marked International Youth Day, a day which marks a celebration for young people's voices, actions, and initiatives, as well as their meaningful, universal, and equitable engagement. In addition, this day focuses on relevant issues pertaining to young people by bringing youth issues to the attention of the international community and celebrating the potential of youth as partners in today's global society. At the backdrop of this important calendar date, we wanted to reflect on the advancement of children's digital rights across sub-Saharan Africa and unpack the various challenges they face as they participate in online spaces. In recognition of International Youth Day and in partnership with the Media Monitoring Africa, it was our goal to bring together children and various civil society organizations working on digital rights in the region to discuss the challenges and opportunities for children who are or would like to access online spaces and participate in the online world. A significant rise in access to the internet and other digital technologies means that children can engage, communicate, share, learn, and develop in previously unimaginable ways, and has fundamentally changed the ways in which children exercise and realize their rights. In addition, COVID-19 has forced many of us online, particularly children who have had to quickly adapt to the online in order to receive an education. We know that children's rights online is gaining international momentum, and it is also important that we pause to reflect on the full realization of the rights of African children in the digital world. Accordingly, and in celebration of International Youth Day, and hence today, we decided to host this roundtable discussion with the children themselves and the various stakeholders to discuss their rights online, with our goal being to ensure that the children are accommodated, that firsthand we get to hear their voices and create a platform to unpack the challenges and opportunities for children who are and who would like to access online spaces. And on that note, I would like to welcome you all, Nditi Namkelegile, and hope that you will find today's impartations insightful. I thank you, Asante Yaleboha, and I'll hand over back to you, Pagamile.
Thank you so much, Nomonde. And rightfully so, this webinar is an incredible opportunity for us to hear from the children of Africa, and for us to also then hold the powerful to account and hold the adults to account to say what is happening, what are the concerns that young people have, and how do they want to present them to the adults today, and the responses from the adults. Now, as you rightfully mentioned, that we have a lot of our stakeholders here, partners and stakeholders here, and colleagues in the field of child online safety and digital rights, and child participation experts that are here in the room. Some of them are not present here today, but we will definitely share this messaging with them, because it's a powerful moment in the African continent, where we get to sit in a room with our young people from Lesotho, from Kenya, from Rwanda, from Uganda, from South Africa, and have them talk to us about important issues that affect them in the digital world. And so definitely the relevant stakeholders that are not present today, especially those from the UNCRC and other parties in the African continent and abroad, will get an opportunity to be able to respond back to the comments and the concerns that our young people have here today. So thank you so much for that. I'm going to now hand over to Mr. William Bird from Media Monitoring Africa to also just highlight the importance of digital rights. Why are we focusing on digital rights? There's so many other important issues in the African continent that we could talk about when we talk about International Youth Day and some of the issues that young people face. Why digital rights? I'm going to hand over to Mr. William Bird.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Nomonde is so appropriately excited to be here, and I'm not sure, sadly, I can match her fabulous enthusiasm, but I'll try. So it is a really important event, and just before this, I was messaging with Professor Anne Skelton from the Child Rights Committee, and she's given an undertaking that when they've finished their current Committee on the Rights of the Child session, she will engage with the issues that the children are raising today. So aside from the people that are going to give responses today, we know that people representing the highest sort of bodies will be engaging and hearing what you have to say. So this is a really wonderful opportunity, and I want to just thank Facebook for partnering with us to do this. And it does show that, you know, they may be a multi-gazillion dollar company, but they are real people who have real passions and interests in the rights of the child at stake and at heart, and that means a lot, especially for our continent. So Pagamile said, why digital rights? You know, on a daily basis, children on our continent, you know, there's issues of basic poverty, of inequality, of access to education, to water and sanitation. And in that light, you might say, well, surely those are the things that we should be dealing with. And our response to that is to say, yes, indeed, those are critical to a child rights governance agenda. But if we to get there, if we to get people around the world to take notice, one of the best and most effective ways of doing that in this day and age is to make use of this wonderful tool called the internet, these amazing social media platforms that have been built that can allow us to have this conversation, although we're in completely different parts of the world and on the continent. And that's an incredibly powerful thing, you know. But the reality is the internet's not going to operate the way we want it to unless we make it so. It's not going to be democratic unless we make sure that it is. It's not going to put the rights of children first unless we make sure that it is. And who else is going to do that but our children? So these digital rights are probably one of the reasons we're so excited, obviously because we're all about media at MMA, but one of the reasons we're so excited is because these are one of the most powerful and potentially accessible means of ensuring that children's rights and a child rights agenda can actually start to take root around the world. It's a way of consistently being there, nagging, making sure that adults don't just ignore and leave children to live in their hideous existences in many instances. This is the opportunity where digital rights means that you can have your say, and it's just as powerful as what I've said, and I've been on this earth for some nearly 50 years, as what people in powerful positions who are on this call have said and what they can do. You know, so this is a way. It's an equalizer. It's a way of smashing those boundaries, but also critically highlighting the massive and dramatic unequal boundaries that do exist, the issues around access, the issues around gender, the issues around how our continent is treated as the unfortunate cousin of the North. This is the way that we're going to fix that, you know. They talk about Africa's time is now, Africa's time is now, our children's time is now, your time is now. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say. So I'm going to be quiet and let the important people speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, William. So this is now the time that we've all been waiting for. And just to give you a little bit of a background, on the 25th of August, Media Monitoring Africa and Facebook took it upon themselves to conduct a preparation workshop in which we wanted to hear from the children. So to hear from the children, what do you have to say around digital rights? And we had a discussion, a preparation workshop on the 25th of August, where we brought together the children from Lesotho, from Uganda, Rwanda, South Africa, and Kenya. And we had a real deep and in-depth discussion about what does digital rights mean for children in the African continent, and how do they want to talk about this topic? How do they want to approach this topic? And what are some of the concerns around digital rights for children? And the supporting document that we used as a guide to be able to speak about digital rights is Media Monitoring Africa's Digital Rights Charter that were created together with children in 2019, that it really encompassed a holistic understanding of digital rights and what we need to start thinking about as the adults if we are talking about child online safety and having young people access digital rights. And so I'm going to hand over to Elizabeth from Rwanda, who was part of the discussion on the 25th of August, and she was one of the children that really formed part of this discussion and really is here to introduce the session where we now start to listen to the children and hear from the children about some of the issues that came up from the discussion that we had in the preparation workshop. Elizabeth, are you? I know she was struggling early on, as well as the ladies from Lesotho who were struggling to join.
Camille, Elizabeth is ready.
Elizabeth is ready. Lovely. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to Elizabeth, who's going to do our introduction for us, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Asold from Rwanda. I grew up in the grassroots, which promote child rights and participation. I'm pleased to be with you about empowering children and creating safe space online today. To make this discussion great, we will be with other children from Lesotho, South Africa, and Uganda, who will be helping us to understand today's themes, which are access to the internet, data and devices, children's participation, and online safety. So if those children have reached, they can get the time and tell us about these all things. And your contribution to the section is very important to be to the children's future. Thank you. We could start from Lesotho, sharing us about access to the internet, data and access. Thank you.
As mentioned earlier, I think, Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that the ladies from Lesotho are struggling to connect.
Yeah, let me look for them. Oh, she's here.
No, she's here? Lovely. No,
that's South Africa. Let me look for her.
Okay, we'll just a minute just to look for her. If they are struggling to connect, we will take Garabo from South Africa. She was also part of the learners that were in the session. When we were briefing them, we said every learner should prepare because we're all part of the session, and you all were all in agreement about every point that was mentioned in the session. So if the ladies from Lesotho are not here they are struggling to join, I think Garabo, you're here. I did see your name earlier on.
Yes, ma'am.
Lovely. You can just take us through the first point, the first thing that you guys discussed around access.
Okay, so hello guys, my name is Garabo Namusi. I will be representing Lesotho because they're having some technicalities. So my topic is concern around access. So rural children in Lesotho have no access as a matter of fact. It was only international schools in Lesotho that had access for their learners to do online schooling. The rest of the children battle to be connected. Had data costs a barrier. One of the children from Lesotho suggested that there should be a free mode for education content. I think this is what we will call zero-rated content. access to affordable devices for children is a problem in Uganda. There has been an introduction to the compulsory use of connected devices in education, well, in certain grades, but there is little support from the government to ensure that all children can have access to devices.
Hello, Karabo? I think you're breaking up a bit. I think we've lost Karabo. Karabo? If you can try and move to a different area because you're breaking up. And we had the same problem when we were doing the preparation workshop. And I think one of the things that George Kalu from Mid-Mountain Africa said, we're here to discuss, same as today, we're here to discuss about online safety and digital rights. And the very thing that we're here to discuss is giving us problems. So that goes to show the amount of work that is needed and collaboration that is needed across the African region to be able to have better access to connectivity, meaningful connectivity, where young people can be in platforms like this and have the opportunity to have their voices heard. Karabo, if you can hear me, please try and move around. And yeah, you can close off your video. Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you better now. If you can just start over because you were breaking a bit.
Okay. Over. Okay, so concerns around access. So rural children in Lesotho have no access as a matter of fact. It was only international schools in Lesotho that had access for their learners to do online schooling. The rest of the children battled to be connected. High data cost is a barrier. One of the children from Lesotho suggested that there should be a free mode for education content. I think this is what we will call zero-rated content. Access to affordable devices for children is a problem in Uganda. There has been an introduction to the compulsory use of connected devices in education, but there is little support from the government to ensure that all children have access to such devices. Concerns around genuine participation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karabo. And I think that the main thing around access was one, it was devices themselves, and children, and all the children in the workshop felt that they because of the nature of them being children, they couldn't be able to have devices that allowed them to have meaningful access. And the other thing was around data costs and the ability to then also, as children, to having to buy data, and they really wanted, especially content around educational content, to be zero rated. So that was really a aha moment for me, when young people themselves are realizing the need to have zero rated content, especially for educational purposes. That one lady from Lesotho, one of the children from Lesotho, said that we really struggled during the lockdown because everything was online, and their phones, they didn't have good phones that could be able to connect them. Data was a huge challenge, and therefore they still are suffering through the impact of being left behind because of the lockdown, because they needed to be connected online, and some of the learners could not be connected online. So thank you so much, Karab, for representing Lesotho so well in talking about the theme around access. We are now going to go to Priority, who's going to be talking about genuine participation. The other element that we spoke about was genuine participation, and what does that look like for young people in Africa.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Priority Zitelum Timkulu from South Africa, and I'll be talking about genuine participation. We're around the discussion that children are not asked about apps during the development stages or even before the launch. Some apps, for example, WhatsApp, stop working if not updated. I think we've all gone through this. We've all had this experience before. The new software is downloaded without the owner being asked or consulted about the new changes. The only time we get to comment on apps for new software is after the launch, where we personalize the app from what they have already handpicked from us. Rating the app at this stage won't be much help, as more improvements will be made without our consent. This is not enough, as children are deprived of the right to creativity. Children aren't given a chance to express their creativity, as their opinions aren't asked by tech companies very often. We suggest that child representatives have to be consulted during the development stages of apps, as they are the ones who use them anyways. Companies big and small can do this, as well as internet service providers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. We will have a chance. We'll have a chance to add your input around participation when we speak to the adults. Thank you so much. Right now, we're also going to then move on to Ali from Uganda, who's going to be talking about online safety. Thank you so much, Priority, around the empowerment of young people and the demand from young people to have meaningful participation, to be allowed or be empowered to participate meaningfully, especially in ICT-related activities and discussions, and also to not just assume that children should be placed at a certain level, but to also understand that children have a lot to say, and what they say matters. One of the ladies from Lesotho, I remember very clearly, said that in actual fact, they wanted that in every organization, every tech company, in every so for example, Facebook, TikTok, Google, they should all have in the board. They should also have a youth representative to speak on the issues of children, to speak on the safety of children, to speak on behalf of children. And we thought that was very powerful, because that means that there's an understanding from our young people that there has to be a representative that can speak on the voices and make sure that the voices of children are heard. And this is part of this discussion. This is part of a bigger discussion, to say that you guys are representing, as you guys are talking here, as you guys are present in the room, and we're engaging in these discussions, you are representative of the other young people that are not so fortunate to be part of amazing projects and initiatives, and to have their voices, to know that they have a lot to say, and their voices are powerful, and they can say a lot, and they can influence policy discussions, policy submissions, and they can even, there's people from UNICEF in the room, there's people from Facebook in the room, there's people from all corners of the continent. As you can see in the chat, people are stating where they're from. So there's really high level people that are in the room that are here to listen to you. And so that moment is a moment of meaningful participation, and it shouldn't stop here, but it should be encouraged. And one of the points of demand from children today is to have meaningful participation in matters that affect them, especially when it regards to digital rights and their safety online. So thank you so much, Priority. We're now going to move on to Ali from Uganda, who's going to talk about online safety and what that means for them, and what are the demands that they are stating today, what are the concerns that they have today that they want our adults in the room to respond to.
Yes.
Hi, Ali. Your network again, same as last week. It's a bit shaky. Is it possible to move?
Yeah.
I think. Okay. Let's try again. Let's.
It's okay now. It's okay now. Yes.
It's better. Yes, you can try. You can speak. Let's try.
Okay. Yeah. Now, as we made a previous meeting, I was asked a question that do these apps, when they are, do they make a survey to consult us whether it's good or whether it's better for us children? And most of the children said no. So concerning on that issue, I think the most emphasis should be put on Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, because one of my colleagues earlier in the previous meeting mentioned that she was sent nudie videos and some nudie pics. And when she tried to report the account, okay, yes, they tried, but it wasn't blocked, as in it wasn't disconnected. You know what I mean? So I think most emphasis should be put that whenever a child or a teenager says that this particular account sent me a nudie video, it should be blocked and connected immediately, not waiting for tomorrow or any other day. So I think that should be personally worked on. And I think the most emphasis should be put on TikTok, Facebook, because WhatsApp, I don't think it's so much. But as my colleague said that for WhatsApp, it needs to be updated, and yet we study right now on WhatsApp. I think it's also needed. So otherwise, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ali. I'm so sorry for the terrible network that we couldn't hear. I couldn't hear a lot of what was what you had spoken about. But I do remember from the conversation that when it came to child online safety, there was a deep concern from the learners to say more needs to be done about harassment online. The young people are often, I think all of them had said that at some point they were harassed online and victimized online, and there needs to be something done about abuse that is happening online. And there should be more efforts from government, from businesses, from civil society institutions to ensure safeguarding, especially when a child has fallen victim of abuse online. They also refer to the justice system is to punish the perpetrator without violating the rights to dignity and privacy of the victim. So one, it was the harassment online and around protecting them and making sure that they're safe online, but also then ensuring that they're not violating their right to dignity and privacy of the victim. And a lot of the young people had spoken about that once there's a child who's been victimized online, there's this need to let everybody know, so their privacy has been disrupted, and they let everybody know, or their privacy has been disturbed, because everyone wants to know who's this child and what has happened to them. The story can be told, but their right to dignity and privacy as victims needs to be restored at all times. They also then mentioned around the need, which was also a haha moment for all the facilitators in the room. Again, young people saying really critical things and making sure that they're having their voices heard on important issues. They talked about having digital literacy included in the curriculum in all countries that were represented, because we went around the room and said, Lesotho, do you guys have digital literacy? Uganda, Rwanda, South Africa, and all of them said no, they don't. They don't. In some schools where there's private schooling, or what we call model C school in South Africa, there is some elements of digital literacy, but they needed it to be in all schools, across all schools. And again, there's a call for digital literacy to be included in the curriculum in all schools. The other thing was making sure that there's adults in the room together with parents, civil society institutions, government are working together to ensure. So there's an coordinated effort to work together to ensure that young people are safe online. And that was really around child online safety and making sure that they are safe online and they have access to appropriate content. They then spoke about what Ali talked about things, inappropriate messaging and content being shared in WhatsApp, in Facebook, and they really wanted parents and teachers and government to ensure that children have access to appropriate content that helps them to grow, that helps them in their developmental growth and not disturbs them in that regard. So thank you so much. This is an opportunity now. We're going to give an opportunity now to, I want to first give an opportunity to other young people that are in the room to share some of the concerns that they have around some of the issues we've talked about. We first talked about access. What does access mean to you as a young person in Africa? We spoke about genuine participation. We spoke about online safety. So what other concerns, if we didn't raise some of the concerns, don't sit there. Please let us know with your hand up and let us know. I see a hand up. I'm just not sure that hand, who's raising that hand. So if you have your hand up, I'm just going to check who has their hand up.
Queen Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, George. Queen Elizabeth, if you are a child, we're first going to focus on the children in the room, because we want to walk away having a clear understanding of what children in Africa are saying about digital rights and what are their concerns. That is really, really the focus. What are their concerns, so that we can walk away as civil society institutions, as government, as big businesses, walking away with an idea. This is what children in Africa are saying, and how can we then work together to make sure that some of the issues that they are raising today, we are prioritizing those issues. So I really want us to hear from young people. Queen Elizabeth, yes, it said Queen Elizabeth, right, George? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, lovely. No, please feel free to speak.
Queen Michelo. I am from Media Network on Child Rights and Development. It's an organization in Zambia. So I'm going to raise my concern on, I think I'm more interested in online safety. I feel there's need for organizations, and talk of Facebook, I've seen Zita and all these other partner organizations that deal with online to ensure that all children are protected online. In Zambia here, most especially with the use of Facebook, which is very common, we have instances where a child goes through something and it becomes more like a meme, so to say, where whatever issue they're facing, it's going to be publicized and their faces are being shown. So I feel that's something that needs to be dealt with, because it has negative impacts on a child's well-being as they grow up. It's not something that's good for a child's mentality, whereby you grow up, then you find out that you were once upon a time a meme on Facebook, maybe because of how you were dressed, how you're looking, or whatever case you're in, whether it was a health condition, maybe you're caught stealing something. I feel in all cases where a child is involved in any issue that affects them, they must be treated, that issue should be looked upon in their best interest. So I would say it's important for organizations to ensure that there's much advocacy that's done to say, even if you're reporting something about a child, or maybe you want to seek help for that child, it's better for their face to be made blur, so that it might not have so much negative effects when they grow up, since their faces were not really shown. Yeah, basically that. And then in terms of access, I think even parents should also come on board to, for example, to see to it that their children are not harassed online. In cases of maybe cyberbullying, if parents use some digital security means like that can be used to make sure that these children are protected from all forms of violence online. So if parents take interest in seeing what their children are doing online, I'm sure they would realize that that child has been bullied, and they would know.
Hello, Elizabeth. I think we've lost you there. But thank you so much for your feedback. Diana, yes, go ahead. Sorry about that. You cut there, but go ahead. Okay, I think we've lost. Oh, she's muted herself. Were you done, Elizabeth? I'm sorry. You just cut there. If you were not done, please unmute yourself and carry on. Very important points that you're mentioning. Diana from one of the partners of the Web Rangers program is saying that definitely, Queen Elizabeth, in South Africa, the identity of children in the media is protected. This should be a law in all countries. And then Lista Namumba, also from Media Monitoring Africa in South Africa, is a great point, Queen Elizabeth. The children's best interest must be protected and promoted at all times. Children should be protected from harm as a result of online actions by others. Thank you so much. We will continue with having just 5 minutes of engaging with other young people before we get our responses from the adults. I want us to exhaust to make sure that every child that is here today has an opportunity to have their voices heard. Jade says, what about educating children on the use of online platforms and how to protect themselves from dangers of using these platforms? Yes, definitely, Jade. I'm not sure, Jade, where you're from. If you're in South Africa, you should know about the Web Rangers program. We do a lot of that. Some of the people that are in the call today from South Africa, the children that are in the call are from our Web Rangers program. Priority and Karabo are from our Web Rangers program. And we do a lot of digital and media literacy around empowering young people to be leaders in the digital world and to be active digital citizens. I'm not sure which country you're from, but Google Web Rangers, or just go to our website, webrangers.co.za. You should be able to get information there if you need information about how to stay safe online. Very, very important topic. And definitely linking to digital rights. If you don't have digital and media literacy skills, you don't know your rights. And if you don't know your rights, you are in a disadvantaged position. And every time you get onto Facebook, get onto WhatsApp, get onto Instagram, anything that is online and the internet, you are at a higher risk of being harmed online because you don't know your rights and you don't know how to act to protect your rights and to protect yourself. We have Lueto. Please unmute yourself and speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My name is Luito Siangoma from Zambia. I work under the Media Network on Children's Rights and Development. So the concern that we have here is it is concerning the privacy and data protection of children. So children don't have control over their personal data. As such, it is used for wrong purposes. So they might get their information and post it on something else and then start using it for various purposes that they want it to use. As such, we request that children can have control over their personal data. Apart from that, another issue that has been trending is the issue of universal and equal access to the internet. It is not everyone who has got access to internet here, because as it was aligned earlier that we've got issues with the high data costs and also devices. So there's also need for that. But the most concerned issue is the freedom of expression, information, and communication when it comes to children. Most of the children are not given these platforms to express themselves, especially when it comes to maybe, let's say, governmental issues or political issues. They're not given an opportunity to express themselves. So even though they want to express themselves, they are limited. This can usually be done by when the government starts blocking websites and internet-related issues. We had a case recently where youths were not able to access internet, and this was done by the government. So there is usually limitation when it comes to youths expressing themselves as such. They are unable to give out views and issues that are affecting them in society. So this has lessened youth participation in our country.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Very important points around making sure that our children are protected online. I want to say we have 1 more minute left before we get into the adults. Will start to respond to some of the concerns and issues that are raised. I want a child from Kenya, a child from Botswana, a child from Lesotho, a child from Zambia to speak if they have something they want to say. I just wanted to, I want to end off with a child from any of the countries representative that are here today, even if they're not from Lesotho or any of the countries I mentioned. If there's a child that wants to end off with some of the comments, please feel free. Please feel free. I want us to make sure that
his hand is up.
I just can't see on my side. Ali, thank you so much. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry about the previous comment I gave. I wasn't clear enough, but now I've got a better network, and I think I'm clear. Yes.
Yes, you're definitely clear, Ali.
Yeah, thank you. So last time I wanted to say that immediate blocking of accounts that send nudity pics and videos to children should be emphasized on Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, because that's the most basic networks that have sent these nudity, that people send nudity pics and videos. So I think it should be worked on. And the next thing is, my bro talked about cyberbullying, which I think it's also a major problem, that there are some children that are even forced to commit suicide due to those cyberbullyings that occur on WhatsApp whenever they post a pic and they are bullied about their body parts, and that's a bad thing that even no child could expect to, to experience, because some children have resulted to committing suicide. You have seen those news whereby a child has committed suicide but nobody knows, and then a child from nowhere comes and he says he saw a comment on Facebook whereby they were telling her that her head is too big, her head is too small, and then she committed suicide. So I think Facebook should work on that mostly. So, and the next thing is, if by any chance we work on Zoom, I think studying online should be free. I think this online studying should be free, because some parents are not eligible to acquire data every day, So I think those are the main points I wanted to emphasize. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ali. We are clear. We heard everything that you had said. Naomi, you have your hand up. I'm gonna end off with Naomi. Naomi, you have your hand up. You're a child, yes?
Yes, my name is Naomi Nkoma. I'm from Zambia, under Media Network on Children's Rights and Development. Yes, so I would like to talk about when we come to freedom of expression, looking at Facebook. Most of the times when you want to come up with a page where you can reach out a huge number of people who you can communicate with and tell them, cause like for young youths, I personally have a lot of vision, and most of the times I try by all means to create a page. I think I even have 3 pages, but they do not have a lot of followers, because on Facebook, for you to have like a lot of followers, it will be like you need to pay a certain amount of money, and like most of people do not have that amount, and then that disadvantages them like to reaching out a lot of people, because so many youths out there have a lot of vision, like they have ideas they want to share with their fellow youths, not just youths but many people on Facebook. But because of you want to reach out to a number of people, but because you are unable to pay that amount which is needed for you to reach that huge number of people, that won't be possible. Like you will not reach out to a lot of people that you want to. So like I feel like, and like I know that, okay, if this ends, or even if they lower the amount of money needed, like a lot of people will be educated, especially when it comes to us children, our rights being heard. We need to have such things whereby we are allowed to reach out a huge number of people. But because of, okay, we are told you need to pay this amount of money, and we do not have that money, like we don't get to reach out to these people, and like this is really a big disadvantage to most of us. Because I personally, I think I've tried to open pages on Facebook, I think even 3, but all because I don't have that amount of money to pay what Facebook needs. Like I do not have the followers I need. Hence the ideas I have, the vision I have to share with others is limited. I'm just kept with it to myself. Why? Because I do not have that money which Facebook requires me to pay for me to reach out to people. So I think on that one, we should look at it, because not just me, a lot of people have created page. I have friends, they also say, oh, you created a page. I also did that. But because they also do not have money to pay Facebook for us to reach that huge number of people, like our vision, our ideas and all that are limited. And I think this thing should be looked at. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Naomi. from Zambia. Speaking on, we have the team from Facebook. They will respond and they'll come up with solutions that we can assist you with. Definitely. We have Jennifer says there's a boy from Kenya who's been messaging wants to talk. Please unmute yourself. We're going to be running out of time, but I think that this is an important discussion, and I really want us to engage with our young people today. So even if it takes a little bit more time than necessary, then please can we do that? We have a child from Kenya. Please, can you? I don't know your name. Can you?
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Speak your mind.
Thank you. My name is Mongi. I'm from Kenya.
Please unmute yourself when you're not talking. Please mute yourself. Sorry, please mute yourself when you are not talking so that the speaker can be clear and heard.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Mongi and I'm from Kenya. And one point I wanted to add on the points is that about content creation, and really my idea was about content creation and the youth. And one thing to emphasize is that Facebook should have a platform probably for young kids, like the way YouTube would have for YouTube kids. So like Facebook should have like for young kids to get their content creation and also teach them on how to they should teach them how to content create and even pay for their needs, probably if it's their education, give them a check or something. If not, really give them the cash that they need. But really, what I would want is for Facebook really to just get a platform for if it's not kids, like for kids to have them, and also on the bullying that they should regulate and listen to the reports made by teenagers. Thank you.
Thank you for so much for that. Again, we have Facebook and other colleagues in the field that can help us come up with solutions for that. I'm just aware we have Chada from Zambia says, may I comment? Yes, Chada, if you can unmute yourself and then speak.
Okay, I would like to add on regarding this. Wansa Emma from Zambia. I would like to add on the issue regarding the children of not participating in government issues. They tend to hear out grievances through social media where they are also harassed. At the end of the day, a child is silenced and have nowhere to show their concern. Like a while ago, I was going through Facebook. What they are doing is that those people who are posting like pornography, their accounts, they are not being blocked. And the people are continuing on cyberbullying children. Like a girl was posted of some pictures and now is being bullied. Nothing is being done on that. So I would love for them to bring up something or to do something regarding the same thing.
Thank you so much. Again, we'll have our speakers come up and talk to us. Before we move on, I just want to quickly go to the chat before we can move on. We had a couple of responses. Sipo Mwazi says there's a need to teach children basic ITC skills to enable my fellow children from rural areas to know the basics of how to navigate around online spaces. The rural digital divide is wide and many rural children have no digital space. Sipo, if you are in South Africa, please check out, even if you're not in South Africa, please check out webranges.co.za. We do offer support to young people when it comes to child online safety and digital literacy. Please check it out. Then we have Joanne van der Gerb saying, hi all, I have a question. Do you think government and NGOs do enough education with children and what the law says about protecting them online? This question, can we pause this question? It's a very important question. I want us to pause it at the end where we have our young people think about this. So the question says, do you think government and NGOs do enough educating with children on what the law says about protecting children online? So this is asking you about the laws that are there that can protect you online. If you don't know the laws, then you can't use them to protect yourself. So the question is, do you understand the laws? Is government and NGOs doing enough to teach you about the laws about around protecting yourself online? Okay, so now we're going to go to the adults in the room. Just to introduce some of the adults in the room that are going to help us get some of the clarity on some of the important things that our children have spoken about. We have Garabo from the Center for Child Law South Africa. We have Babuka from the Stop Harassment and Online Abuse for Women and Girls in Gambia. And then we have Felicitas Mutumedi from Child Rights Network for Southern Africa. These are our stakeholders and partners that are here today that are going to help us unpack some of the issues that we have spoken about around access, around online safety, and around participation. But again, we also have other partners that are in the room. Everyone has, we have people from UNICEF, we have people from diverse areas around the continent. Please feel free to give input and to engage in the discussion to help us solve some of the issues. The last thing we wanted for children, once we host an important session like this, we cannot let children go without giving them clarity, without educating them, without giving them clarity, without giving them solutions. So this is an important point, important opportunity for us to come up with solutions together with the children that are meaningful and that they can empower them to be active digital citizens and use the internet responsibly and safely, and champion the rights in the digital world. So thank you so much. We would like to welcome Garabo, Babuka, and Felicitas onto our panel discussion. I'm going to ask Garabo. I don't know if Garabo from Center for Child Law is here. Garabo from Center for Child Law. If they're not here, Babuka from the Stop Harassment and Online Abuse for Women and Girls in Gambia. I did see your name earlier on. I'm not sure if you're still here. You can just unmute yourself and then talk to us about your experiences and some of the issues that you have helped deal with that are also similar to the challenges or concerns that our young people that are bringing up, that the young people that are here today are raising. I do see you here. Please just unmute yourself and go ahead and speak. I'm not sure if you can't. Can you hear me? I do see your name here. You are present with us.
We can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I see he's unmuted himself. Yes, Babuka, you can go ahead. Babuka, you can go ahead and speak. If you, I see on the chat you're saying you can hear me. You can go ahead and give your input. Okay, I think Babuka might be having a bit of some challenges. Let's move on. We'll come back to Babuka. Let's move on to Felicitas from the Child Rights Network for Southern Africa. I also did see your name earlier on today. Felicitas, are you there?
I'm here, Pakamin.
Thank you so much. Afternoon. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation, and it has been great listening to the children as they were sharing their experiences. And as you rightly introduced me, my name is Felicitas Mutumedi, and I work for the Child Rights Network for Southern Africa. And we solely deal with issues of children in the SADC region. And our interest right now is to galvanize the support of all other organizations so that the region in SADC can establish a child and youth protocol that would ensure that SADC member states address issues of children in a way that is standardized and in a way that would facilitate for member states to be held accountable on issues of children, but also standardize how we then respond to issues of children in the move, adoption of children, so on and so forth. Having said that, CRINSA is a membership organization that do have members that are coming from all the SADC countries, and we work through national networks, and we facilitate speaking with one voice. So in terms of issues that were raised here, one of the things that we are dealing with are issues of child participation, and I'm glad to see that most of the children that were speaking here, particularly those that are coming from the SADC region, are coming from our members, whether you're speaking Zambia or Lesotho and so on. And what we are finding in relation to issues of child participation is the fact that we are now doing better as a region in terms of ensuring that we do child participation that is meaningful, that not only do we engage them as and when we need to have that voice, but that we consult them so that they can shape how we design our programs, we can implement with them, and that they can give us feedback. We have partners even through the CSO forum. Mtoto News is also a witness in terms of how some of these conversations have really shaped our advocacy agenda. We now see children actually addressing the African experts, the African Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of the Child during their sessions, which goes to show that we have cultivated the spirit of participation. We've made children to also really participate in some of the initiatives to understand human rights, to understand children's rights, to understand the different continental and global instruments, and to engage with the national laws as they relate to their rights. However, what we are finding to be problematic, Pakamile, is the fact that issues of children in the media is still one of those issues that we are still struggling with. Just recently, we met with journalists from various media houses within the SADC member states. And our meeting then, Pagamile, was to do with how do we make journalists to be interested in reporting issues of children, because we feel that perhaps they're not getting the prominency that they need to, that perhaps they're not profiled as we see corruption being profiled, or as we see other issues within the different segments of the society being profiled. But we need to also recognize, Pagamile, that when we speak SADC, we are speaking children and young people, because when we are speaking the 0 to 18 years, we see that we do have 45% of the SADC population being children. But when we add young people, we see 60% of the SADC population being children and young people, which goes to show that we really need to be investing in children now and young people if we really are serious about seeing the SADC region ensuring that we actually do have a region that is developing, because these are going to be the future leaders, as we usually say. But if you want a future leader, you make sure that you water now or invest now, so that you can get the rewards tomorrow. So in doing that, what we saw was the fact that media houses don't generally report on issues of children. And when they do, we find some of them really problematic. And the fact that children's faces and photos surface in these media outlets, and children are not protected. And if they're not protected, their dignity is also tarnished, their self-esteem goes down. And those are some of the issues that we find ourselves having to deal with. And now we are dealing with a different episode altogether, where social media has also added to that. We see cyberbullying, we see sexual abuse, of children. And I'm glad that Media Monitoring Africa is now doing these segments with children so that we can build their capacity. Firstly, to understand issues to do with the media, issues to do with cyberbullying, and issues to do with online violence and online abuse. And with that as well comes the responsibility of how do we monitor that and how do we report such incidents such that those that are finding themselves having to deal with, they would know where to go and how to respond in such situations. And as children were speaking, I was listening to how they're interacting on Facebook platforms, YouTube platforms, and it's always interesting to hear such conversations, because ultimately it helps us to also understand how best we can facilitate to support them through those experiences. I don't know what else I need to be focusing on at this point, Pakamile, but basically that's what we do as PRINSA, and we are glad to be part of this meeting just to hear what children are saying and also reflect on our own interventions in terms of where we need to make improvements. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much, and very, very valuable input. I'm not sure if Babuka is back on and can hear me. Babuka, can you hear me? While we wait for him, we have amazing people in the room. We have Mikey from UNICEF. We have people from DBE, Department of Basic Education in South Africa. Please feel free to raise your hand, and we can have a really deep conversation and respond to the young people that have spoken. They've spoken a lot about access. They've spoken a lot about online safety, what needs to be done from their perspective. They've spoken a lot about meaningful participation and their demand to participate more on issues, not just issues that are related, that we think are meaningful for them, but even in high-level discussions where we would normally think that children should not be having a place on the table. So please, can we have, I'm just struggling to see people that have their hands up.
I think Babukar is ready.
Yes, okay, lovely. Thank you so much. Babukar, you can unmute yourself.
We cannot hear you, sorry.
I think Babukar might be having an issue of maybe connecting with just a video, because we were struggling to hear him. I do see that he is trying to speak. And okay, please fix that, because we really want to have your input. While we go to Kingudu Ali. That's Ali, the learner. Ali, you will have a chance to speak later on. We're just now focusing on the response, because we really want to get a response. You guys have said some powerful things, and we don't want to leave this discussion without having response. So we have Jennifer. You can speak on the legalities of the legal framework on online safety. Jennifer, if you can hear me.
Thank you so much, Pakamile, and thank you, boys and girls. I'm here. I heard you on 25th, and I'm hearing you today. You made me think so much that day. Issues to do with child participation. I'll start with the legal framework on online child protections. At the global level, we have the UNCRC. The UNCRC has components on child protection, but specifically last year or the year before, the UNCF, the United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child, passed what's a general comment on digital rights. I think that was last year. Yeah, they passed a general comment on digital rights and how the digital space should protect children. One, to be able to participate as humans, as equals in the digital space, and two, on how we can be able to protect children in the digital space. So for me, as children, we at the UN level, we have a legal framework that protects you as a child to be able to participate. Okay, and in Africa, like for example, we have the GDPR. It's a European protocol, but it does cover Africa, and it covers. And if you see that you are not safe online, so you can just go and Google GDPR, and you see what the provisions that are there that makes Facebook, Google, Twitter, Discord, all these guys to be able to ensure that they have mechanisms that protect you online, okay, to ensure that they pull down any content that will harm you, and not only harm you physically but also psychologically, because the biggest harm online is it's psychologically, okay, that will expose you to further harm. Okay, there's harm number one, but there's content that will expose you to further harm. That, for example, if someone you shares your nudes, you already have been hurt by someone sharing, but someone shares your nude, that is hurting you further. So there is that. At the African level, we have there is the Malabar Protocol. Okay, it has not come into enforce. So I would ask you, children, please talk to your member of parliament, talk to your government to ensure that your country has ratified the Malabar Protocol for it to come into enforce. It's an amazing document that is very specific to the African continent, and it has provisions that protect you as a child to be able to participate in the digital economy, number one, and also to be protected. Okay, and then the African Committee of Experts has just passed, or is it in draft, has just passed a general comment on OSEC, that is online child on sexual exploitation, and it has a huge component on online child sexual exploitation. So there's a general comment on protecting you in the African continent from the African Committee of Experts on the Rights and the Welfare of the Child, and that general comment has very strong, has clear outlined ways on how governments can protect you. And one of them is to ensuring that your government has a legal framework that protects you online. Okay, so that if your country doesn't, I want to see boys and girls. I've seen their hands up, but does your country have a law that protects you online? Like there's a law that says you should be protected online. No one should share your nudes. Okay, no one should cyberbully you. Okay, you should be able to participate online. Like you should have data. The government should not stop internet. Like it's illegal for your government to stop you from participating online. ISPs, internet service provider, should ensure that your internet is affordable. Okay, so there's
sound test.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just checking my sound. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So the Malabar Protocol provides for that, and also the African Committee, the general comment also provides for that. So as a child, you should be able to go and demand, okay? And you don't have to. You can do placards if it's okay, if you're allowed, but you can also write a letter to your member of parliament asking for a legal framework that allows you to do this, okay? And my passion on child participation, you should be able to participate online, okay? You should be able to write. You should be able to create content as a child. You should be able to engage your member of parliament, or to be able to any leader, even the president. I think because I'm in Kenya, where people tweet our president when they wake up in the morning and they're angry with the president, they'll just tweet him up. So you should be allowed to do that, because the internet is an amazing tool that you as a child should take advantage of, to be able to participate, to be able to engage, to be able to learn, and to be able to interact. Thank you so much, Pakamile. I hope I have not passed my time.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Speaking on a very important issue around the legal framework, and also what Joanne van der Geck was asking about. Do they understand, is government giving us enough awareness around the legal framework that help protect children? I'm going to go to Oppo Sibanda now to give their input or respond, more importantly, to respond to some of the issues that the children have raised today. Are you there? If you are, just please unmute yourself. You have the platform to speak. Opal, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Okay, while Opal prepares, we'll go back to Babukar. Just a few minutes, Babukar, because we don't have much time.
Yeah, thank you,
Just to respond to some of the concerns the children have raised today.
Yeah. Briefly, thank you all in the first place for having me here. I'm happy with the work Media Monitoring Africa is doing. And I'm really glad about the inputs I've heard today from the kids. It's really nice to hear first-hand information from people affected. Well, in my own point of view, from what I've learned so far in my experience, I think the biggest problems Africa is facing comes from literacy, access, and policy. When we talk of literacy, in the sense that people need to know what to do online, especially young children, they need to know the power of the internet, where to go to online, what kind of information do you give out online, who do you talk to online, and also access. The government needs to put in place the right infrastructure, the right policy, and not only government, but we as civil society also play an important part in reaching out to the government, engaging them, and engaging the community as well, especially the parents. They need to know what their kids are doing online. They need to monitor them. So they do need literacy on their part. And as far as access is concerned, we need to set up more community networks that allow for cheaper connectivity, that allow for meaningful connectivity where they can learn about things such as their subjects and interact with people their own age as well. And when it comes to policy, I think we should drive policy that are in the interest of children, that are in the interest of them growing, building their capacities to be better leaders of tomorrow. And from Shao end, what we have seen is an increase in cyberbullying and harassment because there's lack of literacy. People usually don't know. For instance, I'll give you a case in the Gambia. There was a school party some time ago, and then there was a very wild dance that the students were doing. Someone videotaped it and posted it on Facebook. Now, this led to the child being expelled indefinitely, suspended indefinitely from her school. And then because of that, her image went viral around the whole country. No school wanted to take her so she couldn't follow her studies. And then there's that social stigma that sticks with you like till you grow up. And in changing that narrative, we need to create space where children who have been traumatized socially online will receive help and counseling and career guidance so that they can better themselves tomorrow and won't have to live with the trauma that they suffered online. I'm sorry if I have gone beyond my time, and I'm sorry for the earlier connectivity issues.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Babaka, for that. We're now going to, and I'm just way of time, we're just now going to go to Suzanne Elsat. We're going to now introduce our Facebook safety policy team in Africa, Middle East, and Turkey from the Facebook group, Suzanne Elsat, to come and give us, share with us Facebook's efforts to advance children's rights and children's safety online, and to also answer some of the questions or concerns that the children in the group had, especially with regards to some of the issues they had with Facebook themselves. So welcome, Suzanne. You can unmute yourself and go ahead and speak. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you. Thank you, Camila, and thank you, everyone, for the great insights. Honestly, it's been an honor just listening to everyone's insights and what everyone thinks about the platform and how we should also change and contribute to your experience on our platforms. This is really, really important to us. I will be going through a presentation soon. But just before we start, I think my colleague will be sharing the screen for the presentation. But before we start, I wanted to respond to some of the comments that we have received throughout. So the first thing is about children's feedback and opinions about the applications and the apps and the app features that we create. And one thing that is super, super important, and you will see it in the presentation a little bit later, is that we take feedback super, 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 super importantly. We take it all in. We work with partners, and we come to listening and conversations and listening activities such as today's. So we can take it all in, and we can also see how we can improve it for our end users. We do not try to go sit in San Francisco and just and try to do everything in one end and not listen to everyone. We listen to even each and every country, each and every region that we serve. And I will show you later in the presentation. Another thing that came up was with regards to cyberbullying and harassment. This is also going to be part of the presentation that I'll be presenting shortly. And it's something that we really, really stress on. That's something that's actually as part of our priority. And we've been working on for years. And it's not only from a technology perspective, but it's also part from the human perspective, as in the human reviewers that come and review the different things that we see online. And actually for safety and security, recently we have hired almost up to 35,000 people across the world to ensure safety and security on the platform with child safety as a priority. A few comments came along with regards that, you need to pay in order to get followers on Facebook or Instagram or any of her platforms. And actually, you don't need to. If you are promoting a post and you want to promote a post, yes, you can pay for that as part of your ads, as part of advertisement. But for you to create a group to get followers, you don't need to pay for any followers. Actually, on the contrary, if people pay for followers, a lot of them are bots, and Facebook and all of the family of apps tries to clear out any bots from followers. So you would find someone who suddenly bought 100,000 followers, they would be reducing because we keep clearing and we want to make sure we are creating the right empowering platform for each and every user. So definitely, you do not need to pay to get followers. You just need to be yourself, express yourself, and create a kind and safe environment on the platform. And we will always be there to support you as a community. With regards to the question on content creation or the comments on content creators and developing resources for them, actually Facebook has, and the family of apps has an amazing content creation programs that even famous people such as, influencers such as Nas Daily graduated from the Facebook program. And that's how he was able to actually support himself in the early stages and was able to get support. So if you would like to check it, it's fb.com/creators or facebook.com/creators. You'll find the list of programs we have. You'll find the list of resources we have that can help you as a content creator. And on Instagram, if you are having a page that is not personal, it's more professional, where you're creating content. If you go to the create page or to the reels and stuff, you'll find a lot of free tips and tricks for you to make your reels better, to make your posts better, to make your posts more attractive. So there are so many available resources that we provide for content creators, because we know content creators are a big part of our community. And again, we try to empower them as much as we can. Another thing is with regards to reporting, and we completely understand that. And I think this is a good segue to the presentation that I'll be presenting right now. All right. Give me a second. Okay. So once again, this is going to be a presentation on child safety. And as a way to introduce myself again, I'm Suzanne Al-Sayed. I'm Egyptian, but I live in London. And I'm the Safety Policy Manager for Africa, Middle East, and Turkey. All right, next slide. All right, so one thing before we start is, again, we want to reiterate is that with all of the colleagues that I have also here from Facebook, that our work on child safety has spanned over a decade. And we are working on it not only from us being employees, but also from the AI perspective, also from the technology perspective. And we're actually some of the leading pioneers with regards to child exploitation, preventing abuse, detecting and reporting content that violates our policies. And we know that these things keep changing. So we continuously work with experts and authorities to keep children safe. Next slide. Sorry. All right. So we have a 5-point approach when we come to developing our features and also towards our community. And they're 5-point because we try to make it holistic. We're not focusing only on what is the fastest, what is the best, but we want to hear to our community. And we want to build stronger communities, empower people to find meaningful connections online, and empower people to build a community that they can rely on and that can help them thrive, especially when a lot of people are really disconnected now. So some of the things that we do is that, through partnerships, we focus on partnerships where it complements our expertise. So we know we're not experts in everything. We are not trying to be experts in everything, because that's why then we partner with other organizations, NGOs, and experts and academics to really understand what is the importance of what we're developing. The second thing is policies, and we're going to cover the community standards in a bit. But policies really play a huge role, and they are basically like the do's and don'ts on our platforms, our family of apps. Because at the end of the day, community standards are very specific, and it's our house rule, No, we are trying to create an empowering environment, a safe environment for everyone, especially children. And policies really try to help us to detect the kind of content that is not welcome on our platforms. Next thing is tools, and the tools are really, really important. Is that because we are trying to develop tools that give the people the power to control their data. And I did hear about some conversations about, that's basically people do not have control over their data, which is not true, actually. You have complete control over your data, what to share, who sees what you share, what content you want to provide. And everything is usually super confidential, unless you're sharing a post and you want to share it with the whole community. You are welcome to. And again, we are going to discuss this later on. But also, what we are doing is that we have also developed tools to report harmful content to us, and that is something that is really, really helpful. Number 4 are resources, and we know that just reporting or just us like scanning and detecting content that is unfavorable in many languages is not enough, and that's why we offer resources in almost every region globally for different things, for cyberbullying, for violence against women, for different things. We try to provide resources that are offline, in the offline world, that can actually support you if you're facing any kind of abuse online, or that if you require any kind of support. And lastly, we have feedback. And of course, this is the most important thing, and we were just discussing it today, which is the amazing thoughts and presentations that we heard today. And that is very, very important for us, because that's how we constantly improve not just our features, but also our tools and policies and services. All right, next slide. Okay, I think, it can be a bit closer. So one thing here is with regards to, the policies, we're going to dive deep into it again. Our policies are kind of our rules. And that is a Facebook community of over 2.6 million people interacting daily. And we're really just trying to we're trying to keep it with the most empowering environment. Next slide, please. All right. So here we'd like to say that this is a service for more than 2 billion people to freely express themselves across countries, cultures, languages, and that's why we have the community standards to outline the behaviors that are not allowed on Facebook. And out of these community standards, which you can find on facebook.com/community standards, we cover a variety of things: violence and criminal behavior, safety, objectionable content, integrity and authenticity, and intellectual property, and so many more. There are so many things in those community standards, which are house rules, again, of what you can and what you can do, what you can post and what is considered wrong. And the best thing is that although the policies the community standards are global, we still try to make sure that we're also culturally appropriate, and we're also trying to make sure that for each region we are focusing on what is important for each region, and that is done through our reviewers. When things are reported to us, the machine learning helps us with and the AI that detects based on the language it's reading what kind of action should be taken on different things. And that's why in the community standard, under community standard, the policies, oh, you're welcome. Our community standards are covering a wide range of areas, and in order to make sure everyone is really protected from different areas, whether it's something visual or comments or posts, or even hacking, this is all really protected. And we're going to tell you even more how we protect you even further through your own account. Next slide, please. All right, so these are some of the policies that I'll be covering today for child safety: age requirement, child sexual abuse, solicitation of imagery, and inappropriate interactions with children, sexualization of minors, child nudity, and non-sexual child abuse. I did notice something in the chat saying that if we could share the presentation. Unfortunately, we cannot share the presentation as this is intellectual property of Facebook. However, you can find a lot of this information already on facebook.com/safety resources. Again, you can find it even by the different safety resources we provide, or also facebook.com/community standards. All right, so more specifically, our policies on child safety, like when they address child sexual abuse and solicitation of imagery and inappropriate interactions with children, we do not allow content or behavior that sexually exploits children. More specifically, we do not allow content that depicts participation in or advocates for the sexual exploitation of children. This would, for instance, include any engaging in sexual activity involving minors, soliciting of minors by adults, or vice versa, and also includes minors soliciting minors. We also remove content that constitutes or facilitates inappropriate interactions with children. Also, content including photos, videos, real-world art, digital content that depicts sexual activity involving minors or with sexual elements are also removed. Any of those child nudity or any of those content that really pushes for any of those that are mentioned, child sexual abuse, sexualization of minors, etc., are always removed. And if reported to us, we are able to interact with the content to remove it immediately. And if necessary, sometimes we do go to law enforcement. All right, next question. Next slide. Yes. Okay. But of course, when it comes to teens, when it comes to children, we really try to enhance the privacy and security settings, because this is something that we try to focus on, is that this is, we understand that teens or children, and usually children should have the parental consent, but also specifically for teens, they have specific things that are by default in order to take their protection even further. For example, tag review is on by default, so they can review who is tagging them. Location sharing is off by default. So one of the key important things, again, I'm really sorry we do not send the presentation. Location sharing is off by default, and if the teenager or if the user does switch on the location, we do keep reminding them that the location is switched on and to remind them to switch it off until they do, and then that's completely fine. Facial recognition is off by default. Also, posting to audiences is usually also set to private by default. And even on Instagram now that their programs, not their programs, their profiles are usually set to private by default. And that's something then if they want to make it public, we do still try to remind them that it's not safe, and we do send several reminders. Contact information is completely not available in search. And lastly is the special education, which we do provide for teens. Next slide. So our policies are only as good as their enforcement, and we use a combination of reports from our community, review by our teams, and technology to identify and review content against our standards. So this is something that's really important for us because, as I was mentioning, is that we are a community. We can't make sure everything is working on our own, because at the same time, this is also it's only going to work if you help us make it work. So user reports are really, really important. And this is something that is crucial for us to understand what is happening on the platform. What are the kind of report is, for example, bullying. Bullying is something that's super contextual, and we need that context. So when you report it to us, if our AI does not detect it immediately, because sometimes it's wrapped in a way that it sounds nice or it sounds like a compliment, but it's actually bullying. So that's why it's really, really important to report it to us, because then our reviewers have the ability then to read the context, and also our AI and machine learning is able to educate itself, and we're educated that this is not acceptable. As I mentioned, we have 35,000 people in safety and security now globally, and we have 15,000 that are content reviewers in many languages. All right, next slide. Okay, so this is something that we really, really would like to focus on. And I think this is something that is important given the conversation we were having today. And I'll read it out, is that we have designed our platform with a view of giving people power and control over their own experiences. We give people control over what content they share, what content they see and experience, who can contact them, and with whom they share, and more. So you have complete charge of what information you are sharing, of what information people are seeing about you, and also of what kind of information you want to share with us. So you have complete control of that. So next slide. And the things we have, when we talk about tools, it's tools that are protecting the user safety, and they can range from the line of defense, security, and privacy tools to safely manage interactions and support well-being. So one thing is that this security is more like your privacy is more like your gate. Okay, so you have a gate outside your house. You do lock it. We expect you to also do the same. And for teams, we try to even make it a step further, and we close those gates by ourselves as a default until they open it. But this is something really important, and especially as things are more and more becoming online, it is crucial for us to understand that this is really important, and especially that as now children are learning how to play with iPads and get online before they learn how to walk. This is important for us to take into consideration that this security checkup is done. Next slide, please. And next slide, let's talk a little bit more about the safety tools. Okay, so two of the safety tools that we're going to be covering today is blocking and reporting. So blocking is that you can block anyone for any reason that you don't want to interact with. And if someone blocks someone else on Facebook or Instagram, that person is not told. So you can block anyone that you need, that you want, and you have the freedom to do that, and no one is going to know. And also neither person can see each other, interact, or communicate. So unless someone like basically goes and checks where is that person, they will not be informed. So do not fear to block anyone you are feeling uncomfortable with. This is your choice, or for whatever reason, it is your account, it is your world. Also, another thing is reporting, which we really like to stress on, is that if you see anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or is inappropriate, you can report it to Facebook, to Instagram, actually to any of our family of apps. And one thing we continuously work on is we try to make reporting quick and easy. And we've been working a lot to even improve this technology more and more. And sometimes our AI or machine learning actually detects things even before you see it or before anyone sees it, and is removed immediately, or even sometimes is prevented from being posted in the first place. So one thing again is that we'd like to stress on is that any piece of content can be reported to us. You can report to us a comment, you can report to us a post, you can report to us a profile, a message that you get, a specific message, and that will help us to get to know which person in our team is the best place to review it. And please do remember, it's completely anonymous. No one is going to know it's you. And if you're reporting someone, that person who's been reported will not know that you have reported it. Next slide, please. All right. So, and also another thing is that we have, of course, Facebook and Instagram, and they work sometimes a bit differently. And when it comes to reporting content and teams on this call, please, and actually everyone, do remember that, because I did hear today in the conversation about, the role of parents, and it's so true. Like, parents play a huge role parents play a huge role in Facebook and Instagram, especially when they're underage children. So this is really important to know how to go about the website. Although it's very, very quick, it's very easy, but you still, it's good to listen to this presentation. So when it comes to reporting content, we would always encourage you to report content via the platform. Why is that? Because our AI learns from the reports via the platform, and often reporting via the platform is the quickest way to highlight content that you're concerned about. Also, it's super quick and easy. Also, on both Facebook and Instagram, you can report any piece of content, like I mentioned, from a profile account, a post, a comment, a video, whatever it is that is inappropriate, please do report it. On Facebook, you can do this by clicking on the three dots or three lines that appear next to the content itself. There you'll find an option to find, support, or report the piece of content. And then on Facebook, to report a comment, long press on the comment, and then you can report it. And it's really important to follow the on-screen prompt process to the point of submitting a report that's after you have provided feedback, to make sure it is completely to submit. So we make sure we get all of these reports. Also, if you want to also get your phones out and try it, if you have Instagram or Facebook, please feel free to test it out. But do not report something if it doesn't need to. So one thing is that we want on Instagram, though, we want it to be safe and kind. And it's important that we're all doing our bit to ensure this is the case. So We know that sometimes kindness is not everyone's priority, but it's in our power to help create a kinder and safer community on our family of apps. So it's important that we're calling out unwanted behavior. And there are lots of examples that you can report of instances you might need to report something. And on Instagram, again, you can report a post, a story, a live, a DM, which contains hate speech, nudity, sexual activity, shares a private image, sends you to violence or dangerous organization, sales of illegal goods. Someone was commenting about, illegal substances. You can report that. SSI, so suicide and self-injury, if someone is glorifying it. Eating disorders, a comment, bullying and harassment, or impersonating profiles. So you can report anything. And the thing is, it doesn't mean that you reported that it's immediately going to be taken down. This is why we do review everything. If you do receive a bad DM, direct message, you need to ensure that this is what you report and not just the account. Make sure you're reporting the message itself, and you can do that. And you can do that by usually to report it, you can usually just click it. And if you're going to say, for example, copy, unsend, or report, and you can click on that. And to report a comment on Instagram, you just slide the comment to the left and click the exclamation mark, and then you can also do that. Once again, reporting really, really, really helps us make the community a safer space. And this is our community. It's not only Facebook's community. It's not only your community. We are working on this together. Okay, next slide, please. I know this one was a bit long. So privacy tools. One thing is that on Facebook, every time you share something, you choose exactly who can see it. Public friends, custom audiences. And people have one-click control over the visibility of every single status update, comment, note, photo, or video that they choose to post on Facebook. Next slide, please. And we do understand that people make mistakes. So this is very important, is that we all make mistakes. So then we have provided you the opportunity that you can change the audience selected at any time after a post is made by using our activity log. Using your activity log, you can change the audience for anything you have shared, even from a year ago. For example, I went back to my profile years later, and I found that if someone is viewing it as public, I found that they can view some of the reports, some of the posts that I've had since ages, and I did not mean for everyone to see it, the whole community, Facebook community. So then I changed that and I made it only to friends. So you can also do that. You can also just delete anything you no longer want to share. Also on a mobile device, if you want to do that, you will see a 2 line over there at the top, and to the right, you can select exactly with whom you want to share. On your browser, as soon as you go to the post, the audience box pops up, so you can adjust who your audience is as you wish. All right. All right, next slide, I think. Also, if you want to confirm how different people are viewing your profile, like I told you, I saw that some people who were viewing it, public people from the Facebook community, they were seeing some of my posts. So if you want to confirm that, how different people are viewing your profile, once you've selected the privacy settings, you can view it as, you can click view as, and then you can choose either one of your friends, for example, or you can choose if someone is viewing it as public. So then how do they view it? All right, next slide. All right. So like I mentioned before, we have our gates, and our gates for our house is what keeps us
private, what keeps us safe. And that's the same thing online. Don't undermine the online world. And we encourage everyone to run through the basics of their privacy settings to familiarize our users with these online features. We have Privacy Checkup. It just takes around a minute or two to complete, and it runs through the basics. So you can see your posts, which apps have access to your account, and who can view your profile information. Also, when it comes to teens and privacy, we know it's not at the top of their minds, so we add the additional steps as I mentioned. For example, we take steps to remind minors that they should only accept friends' requests from people they know. Also, because it's important for minors to think before they sharing their location is, as I mentioned, is completely shut off or switched off by default. And when they turn it on, we include a consistent indicator as a reminder that they're sharing their location. Next slide, please. All right. Also, we have created Facebook shortcuts providing safety policy education. Sorry, I'm a bit crazy, but yes. We have created some Facebook shortcuts providing safety policy education and or resources to people who initiate searches as child exploitation imagery, child physical abuse, NCII, suicide, and trafficking. Next slide, please.
Question.
It would be best if we get the questions in the end, or you can write them in the chat, and I'll try to answer them as we finish up. I'm nearly in the end. Thank you so much. So one thing that we are doing in Facebook is that we always have created a different resources, and these resources we're trying to ensure that they're regionally appropriate and relevant, and that's why partnerships are essential. Next slide, please. One thing is that for moderation for Instagram, tools for Instagram, you can control who can comment on your post. You can manage unwanted interactions. You can delete comments, hide offensive comments, and manually block words and phrases, comment warning, and you can also remove, block, restrict, or mute users. Next slide, please. And the last thing we're actually covering, resources. Next slide. So we have a help center that has frequently asked questions, and we have a help community forum that shares some more specific questions and answers. We also have a safety center where you can find links to the safety policies, tools, and resources, as I mentioned at the beginning. Next slide. Now, one thing is that we have specific sections dedicated to parents, youth, bullying, suicide prevention, and we're continuing to update this information. We're also continuing to make sure that it's also regionally appropriate and country appropriate. So please do go check out the safety centers. And next slide. And this is one of the things, for example, that we do offer is that we have parent resources because we understand children and parents are usually interacting on the social media, or parents are in charge of their children social media. But not only that, we also try to encourage that conversation between the child and the parent to make sure that they understand what are the safety tips when they are interacting online. Next slide, please. Last slide. Recently, we have also launched the Child Safety Hub on our Safety Center, and we're going to also be translating this. We are actually in the process of translating into over 50 languages globally, and the Child Safety Hub is a great place to get some information about like tools, trainings, policies, or even resources that can help you as you're interacting on all of our platforms and beyond. Next slide. And that's it. Yes, Thank you so much, everyone, for listening and for interacting. Really appreciate it. Back to you, Fakamila.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Very informative session indeed. I know that we are running out of time. So I'm going to ask that we have our questions in the chat, and then we'll continue to answer those questions in the chat and we move on to the closing. I want to call upon Elizabeth again to do the closing for us. Elizabeth, are you there? Elizabeth?
Yes, I am.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you just unmuted yourself. If you can, you've just muted yourself. Sorry. If you can unmute yourself.
Okay, for everyone, I'm very happy to say thanks to everybody who was here, and I thanks for everyone who had given the ideas in this conversation. So it is a grateful thing to be with you all, talking about different things which can promote children's lives. That is a grateful thing to children's promotion in their light and their participation. And I think this will make all children in Africa to be promoted and to be successful to all things they do because they have the protection. That is a grateful thing. And I thanks for the adults and the children who were here making decisions, giving many different ideas. That is a good, grateful thing. To everybody who was in this meeting, it is so amazing to be with you, and it is so grateful to be with you because you had made some main grateful things to promote our light, and we promise you that as children, we will continue to follow and to work well in our participation and giving news about what is going on, which is bad or good. And we also thanks for all who are caring on us. It is a grateful, better thing. So, as persons who were here making this conversation, I thanks for you for your participation. I thanks for you for your ideas and some conclusions, decisions. That is a grateful thing to us. Thank you. When there is anybody who have a question or who have anything to add, you can add.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you for that great closing, acknowledging everyone and making sure that we continue to work as African children to ensure that our digital rights are met, but also that we continue to make our voices heard on important issues. Thank you so much, everyone that joined this meeting. Again, I want to emphasize this. We also have a challenge from Sylvie who says, can we organize a similar event for French-speaking people? Excuse me, this is a challenge for Nomonde from Facebook and William Bird from Montreal, Africa, to organize another event because young people want to be heard, and it's unfortunate that resources are always limited in terms of making sure that other people are heard. But we will organize another event, or we will come up with ideas about how to involve other young people that are not English speaking, because it doesn't mean that they are not English speaking, they don't have something to contribute, something important to add to this discussion. Definitely something to think about, William and Nomonde there. I want to also emphasize that, like I said earlier, they have other stakeholders that were really excited about having this event, but due to other commitments, they could not be able to join us today. They will be this video or recording will be shared with them, and they will give input either through a live session or through another recording. But definitely will give input, and they're really excited to respond to the concerns that our young people are having. So we will definitely share it with them, and we'll come back to the children that are part of this session to say this is the feedback that we had from the relevant stakeholders and relevant parties and partners that are really important in this discussion as well. Thank you so much to everyone who is here. We are way over time, but I think that we've done a good job in terms of having our children speak and having us listen to our children. I also want to challenge all the partners that are here that we had a lot of children speak, but very few partners spoke and responded to the challenges that the children are raising. So that means that there's a big gap that still needs to be filled. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done to ensure that access is where it needs to be, that participation for children is where it needs to be, and online safety is where it needs to be. So a lot of work ahead of us, partners in the room, a lot of work ahead of us in ensuring that children in Africa feel that they have all the resources and the skills and the knowledge to be able to meaningfully and responsibly engage in the digital world. Thank you so much to everyone who was able to make it. We have a comment from Nonde saying, had we had known earlier, we could have made provision for translations, but I am certain that with our Francophone team, we can organize something. Definitely. That's why I'm saying definitely something that we can work on to include more of children's voices in such discussions. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening. And thank you so much for your comments. Thank you to the children that were here today. Your voices are powerful. They are heard today, and they will continue to be heard. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening and be safe. Thank you, thank you, thank you.